Okay, hi guys and welcome back to my channel. I just grabbed myself some water for this video. So I'm actually a bit sick. I'm like literally just over the end, so excuse if I sound a little bit nasally, but I have just been thinking that yeah, I want to make this video. I've been ready for a while now, but I haven't had the perfect time to do it, and yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. I want to talk about it. I want to share my story. It's been a very difficult past 2 years for me, which I cannot even believe it's been 2 years already. So I'm gonna jump into this video. If you're new to my channel, I'm Christelle. I live in Amsterdam, and yeah, my parents divorced. It's now a year ago, but it's been obviously a longer process, and I am just ready to share my story. And there's two things that I want to mention straight up. Is first of all, I'm going to tell the story from my perspective, yeah, like my experience. I'm not going to talk about my parents like divorce, like their story, their what they went through. I'm talking from the child's perspective, like how does it feel going through a divorce, how it happened from my side, what I've been through, you know, what helped me, and maybe like tips I can give people that's going through the same thing. So that's first of all, like I'm not going to talk about the reason why the divorce and this and that, like that's their story, and like I respect them so much, I won't like obviously touch on that. This is purely just to share my story and to help people out there that might, you know, struggle with the same thing when their parents go through a divorce. So that is obviously the reason I make this video. And then the second one is basically just that I wanted to say, because I'm going to speak about divorce, is that I love both my parents so much. So there's no like hard feelings between me and my dad, me and my mother. Like I love them both so much. So I speak with both of them every day. I, you know, have relationship with both of them. So, you know, everything is luckily very good on that end. So those were just the two things I quickly wanted to mention. And then I'm going to share my story, and in doing this I didn't like plan or like written down anything. I'm literally going to speak from the top of my mind, from my heart. I'm already getting nervous. I'm just gonna, yeah, like speak how I feel, get it off my chest, you know, like share it with the world, because I feel the more you put out there, the less you have to carry with you. And then you also see how relatable life is actually. And there's a lot of things I've learned about this whole experience, and at the end of the video I will probably touch on some of the things that really helped me, that I can like give advice to you guys from my experience. And then secondly, just like what I took from it, because at the end I learned so much, and I am so thankful for the strength I've gained out of the whole story. So let's jump into it. And this is my story of, I heard my parents were divorcing when I was 20, yeah, just 26, and then I'm 28 now. So over those 2 years it happened. So let's get into it. Okay, where to begin? So I'm just going to start off straight and literally just walk through when it happened up until today. So this happened September of 2019. Yes, it's been that long already. I cannot believe that time is flying by so quickly, but it happened in September of 2019. I got a call and I found out that my parents were looking to divorce. It wasn't finalized yet, obviously. They were just looking to divorce, and that was obviously super terrifying to me. Just the thought of that, like it didn't seem that it could be my reality. Like I don't know how to explain this. Like it felt like it happened like to other people around me, like to some part of my family it happened to, and like a tiny bit of my friends here and there it happened to, but it never felt like that it's actually something that can happen. So when I heard that, I was quite like, wow, like is this about to happen? Like very like in non or disbelief, like yeah. So that happened. I obviously like was so sad, and like cried so much. And then that evening I called Tina. She's a very, very good friend that lives here in Amsterdam. Her and her husband has been helping me so much with like every time when something happens, they've been there for me. And she's my one friend in my life who I know I can call, and she's just there to listen. She won't ask questions to like what's the word, like to ask out and be like nosy or something. Like she didn't ask anything. She was worried about me. She was listening, and I just had her to be there, you know. It was, I think, did I call her or message her? I cannot even remember, but it was a quick conversation, and she asked me like, do I need to come over? And I was like, no, I'm fine. And that's that. So that's the one thing I would say, and at the end I will touch on that, like have very good friends in your life. Like family is everything, and you need to have your family, it's blood, all those things, but having good friends, like that was a key in my recovery process of this whole thing. So yeah, that happened that evening. And on top of that, there's two things. I found out other things that really, really scarred me up until this day, but I dealt with it, and I'm not going to get into that. But things, I've heard things that a child should not hear, just put it that way. And I also felt about it more heavily back then, whereas now I'm like, I'm glad I know that, because life isn't perfect. Life isn't this whole airy fairy happy jolly thing. It's not like that. Not everyone is not this I don't know, like angel doing everything perfect. Like no, there's baggage and like skeletons in every person's closet. Like there's things you don't want like your people or anyone to know, because it's who you are as a person and your secrets and whatever. So that is just like, I knew that, but then that became reality. Like no one is perfect. Everyone has their own like shit going on and whatever. So that just scarred me back then. And then secondly, what happened is I could not tell my two sisters, and that was really hard on me. I found out earlier from them, just it wasn't supposed to happen, and I found out. And then for, I think it was 2 months, I've had to deal with that by myself. And I respected like not telling my sisters and everything. It was really, really hard for me. I had, Tina was the only one, her and her husband was the only one that knew. And I struggled big time, because also at that point I was, for one of my parents, I was there like so much, and I was like pulled into it like way too much. And that's like tip number one, and I will touch on that at the end. Like, you are the child, don't get involved in your parents' divorce. And it's not like I chose to do that. Like, first of all, my personality is, if someone that I love is hurting, I want to help. I do it without even knowing, and I put myself last. Even though I get hurt through the process, I will try to help them. So I, without knowing, like put myself as part of the divorce, and like that ruined me. And for that 2 months, and I was like sucked up into that world and trying to help, and trying to manage this whole new thing that I've heard and am a part of, and not being able to share it with my two sisters that I'm super close with. Like, that is just 2 months I really struggled. I had to take off from work. I couldn't focus at work anymore. I was super sad. So yes, I had to take off a week from work. I was crying at work, and then my mentor actually told me like, it's okay, like take time. She actually also knew, take time, and the Netherlands is the best, like, you know, if you have personal issues going on. And I really like struggled at that point. It was probably like one of the lowest points in my life. And then yeah, at the end I took a week off from work. I didn't even tell my parents, just so that they, like, I could just like escape from earth. And then I told another friend, Audrey, and like as time went on, I started like telling people. Sorry, I just had to quickly stop the video. I was coughing. But what I wanted to say is that I started like speaking to more people. I felt more comfortable with it. But also on the side of that, I felt ashamed in a bit. Like, I always, as I said, like I never thought that would be my reality. So that's just a bit. I never thought that would be my reality. And I've always seen, and I'm going to be completely honest, I've always seen it as broken families. I don't know why, like like, I don't know, just the people I've been with in the past, the parents are divorced, like most of them, it just looked like broken families. And I was always just like, I don't want that for myself. I don't want it for my own, like my parents and my sisters, my own family one day. Like I'm sure no kid wants that. And then when it happened at me, and also like at 26 years old, I was very insecure about that. Like I couldn't believe that, and I felt ashamed of that. Like, wow, I'm actually part of that group of people that I used to like think these type of things about. So after I actually like started like dealing with that and like starting to realize like it is my reality, yeah, I started speaking to more people. My mother actually came and visited separately with my younger sister that December. But yeah, it was just tough times. Like I for the whole of that year, the divorce only went through the year after, so last year, December of 2020. And up until that period, like I didn't, like I spoke to my friends, but I never like spoke like about the things I actually went through between that period of September of 2019 up until, I would say, the summer of 2020. That period, it was probably like a 9 months that was really, really, really tough on me. And my mother and my father know it was really tough on me. I struggled to speak about the things that, I just struggled like speaking about those things that I got to know of to anyone. And then finally I made the decision to speak to a therapist, and I've spoken to a therapist before, like when I got my knee injury and just needed like someone to understand me and like pick me up or whatever. But then I saw a therapist, and then I like told her everything. It was a year after, so around September, summertime of 2020, I finally, it was just before I started my new work at my current work, I finally just told her everything. It felt like a weight off my shoulder, and since then I've spoken about it to 2 other people, and those 2 people are also, both the parents are divorced, and they went through also difficult things. Like, so one thing I really struggled with is finding people that relate. Like, it's fine speaking to your very, very close friend about your parents' divorce and, you know, how it's been a struggle and this and that, but I don't know, finding a person that really gets it. Like, I'm super happy, well, not for them that they had to go through it, but that I have those friends that, I actually have 3, that 3 of them that I could really like open my heart to and like speak about everything. So one is my roommate from varsity, which I'm so thankful for. Like, she was actually the first one, and then the 2 year in Amsterdam, and they knew along about everything. But in the past month or 2 is when I shared those other things with them, and I'm starting to feel like good, you know, letting go of those things and also realizing like, you know, it's okay. But anyways, I'm just rambling now. So basically, just what I wanted to say is that I really struggled when I found out, and I think the biggest part for me was, I don't know, obviously seeing like the divorced picture between your 2 parents. And the one thing is just that you just need to know that you are the child and you cannot fix anything. And even if there's one parent that, I don't know, like sometimes parents don't realize what they put on their child, especially during those times. And it for sure happened to me. And I took on way more than what is ever expected from a child, like ever. And I'm glad I could do that and be there for one of my parents. But it broke me at a point. Our relationship wasn't as good at that point, and it was in the past like amazing, the best. So we went through rocky roads, but, you know, I stuck through. I was there, I pushed through. I mean, I would do anything for, especially my parents. So, you know, it took literally a piece of my soul back then, and I don't want to cry, but it was probably the most difficult thing I ever had to do, because while you're trying to save this one person, you're slowly losing yourself. And I just cannot explain the feeling, like trying so much to help a person, but you know, you can only do so much, and that person needs to decide for themselves. And as a child, that's not your place. And I had to learn that. I had to learn, like, through my physio and friends and other people, like, it's not my place. It's not the child's place to try to fix things, try to amend things, try to save your parents, like, individually and together. Like, that's not your place. And it's really difficult letting go of that, because then you feel selfish, then you feel like you are giving up. Because at a point I had to make a decision for myself. I can either keep on doing what I've been doing the past 9 months, but then I would literally be mentally not okay, or I can choose to put myself first and trust that that person will be fine with all the help you've been given the past 9 months, and also by their own healthy mind or their own mind. That's not on you what a person chooses to do. But the biggest thing is that there was suicidal things going on, and though that was probably the hardest thing for me, is like I think that's one of the worst things. Like, the divorce itself, it sucked. It's something to get used to. It's your whole life is different. It's not the same as you expected it. And like, some people, like same as me, that pre-divorce parents, you don't realize how it can affect you. You don't realize how much you depend on that unit of your parents. Like, once that's not there anymore, it sucks. Like, still I'm trying to get used to it. That's why I also probably like put off visiting South Africa for a while, because I had to deal with seeing my parents separately, and that's not nice. You know, like, at where I'm at now, like, I'm fine, I'm over it. Like, I've realized, like, I've got 2 healthy parents, and that's all that matters. But throughout it all, it's difficult. And when the suicidal things came onto play, like, that is what ruined me. Like, just knowing there's absolutely nothing you can do, and you've literally given more than 100% already, and then that being like thrown back in your face like several times, it just makes you, it makes you scared. I was so scared for a long time, not knowing what I will hear the next day, or you know. And I can just be so thankful that in my personal life that everything was okay, you know. Like, like, if I had like other struggles and that, like, oh boy, I would have been down in the dumps. But luckily at that point it was only that was my big struggle, so I could really, like, only, you know, I had something good going on the side. That's what I'm trying to say, is that really helped me. Like, I'm glad for my life I've built for myself, because that is what keeps me going every day. Like, it makes me happy, truly makes me happy. And you know, in the days where I get down and I get like in my head, you know, I hold on to those things and to the good things in life. But yes, when you deal with someone, whether it's a family member or anyone that's suicidal, like, you would understand, like, that's so not fair on the people that are not going through that. And I'm also understanding what the person is going through with the suicidal thoughts, but it's the word you feel, I'm trying to put it into words, but you feel, what's the word in English? Like, you cannot do anything. You feel powerless. You feel powerless, like you can absolutely not do anything. And that's the worst feeling, is feeling powerless to try to help someone you love. And yeah, that happened with, like, I was with Sophia one evening, and it happened, you know, and I had to deal with that in front of my friends, like crying down, like begging and being sad and all those things. Like all of my close friends knew all of that. I had to share that. I had to speak with people about it. So, you know, it has been hard times, and I obviously didn't want to speak about it at the time, because I was still figuring out my own head and navigating myself through life. And then once I started, like, to just feel okay, I tried to, like, get back on what makes Christelle happy, because for that 9 months and probably the whole of 2020, I've lost Christelle. My focus was not on me, and I've always said, like, when I moved to Amsterdam, I like found myself, I was super happy, you know, and I was like on cloud 9, and then that happened. It literally, it rocked my world. It properly rocked my world. But thankfully for that life that I've created for myself, that's something I could hold on to. So yeah, that's my story. It's not nice, and I hope I've shared something that can, you know, people can relate to, people that have divorced parents, people that are going through it. Like, I get you, it's hard. Some people don't get it, which is also fine. It's not their life story. It's not an obstacle they have to go through. Unfortunately, it was one I had to go through, and I didn't expect it at all. My parents are almost married for 30 years, or it was 30 years. So, you know, we were a super loving family, super close family, and it was the last thing I expected. So it really rocked my world. Yeah, so I would just say that if I look back, a child should not be, first of all, involved in their parents' divorce, like, at all, actually. Literally at all. Like, you must be there for both parents, support them, listen to them, but they also need to know the boundaries. But sometimes they are hurting and they forget about those boundaries, and you're the child. Like, I am super close with my family, so we tend to, like, you know, forget each other's boundaries. So during that time, it was understanding, like, that could happen. But then, and that's what I'm trying to learn myself. I actually had one of my friends, one that I've shared like everything with over last week, and I told her, like, I'm really working, and she knows that I've been working for this on the past 2 years, is to really stand up for Christelle, to not think that standing up for myself and putting my needs first are being selfish, because I really, really struggle with that. It's like doing something that makes me happy, doing something that I don't know, it's different, but it's something I enjoy. Like, I'm so scared of doing that because I'm going to hurt other people and other people. But what about me? And being selfish, choosing Christelle sometimes or always, there's nothing wrong with that. And I've really tried to learn that over the past years, and I've come so far. I'm literally like, I'm so proud of myself. And that's one thing you have to learn, but through trial and error. Like now I tell my parents, this is my boundaries. I don't speak to my parents anymore about their divorce. I tell them, once they bring something, I'm like, I don't want to hear about it. Go sort it out with the other one. That is not my place. Like, not at all. Speak to me about your feelings, like, I'm feeling sad today, or, you know, I just had this thought or this memory. You know, I'll be there, emotionally support, but also not too much. But you as a child need to say your boundaries and stop feeling sorry to do that. Stop feeling bad doing that. That's totally fine doing that, like 100% fine. You need to put yourself first. It's not, and this is what I always had to taught them, like, this is not my, like, I see it this. So everyone has their obstacles and trial and errors in their lives that they have to go through to, you know, better themselves, to get strength and all of those things. And I always used to tell them and still tell them, unfortunately, and I feel really bad, but that's your battle. That's not my battle. Like, obviously the drips and drabs from it is my battle, like being the child, having divorced parents, but the actual divorce, that's not my battle. Unfortunately not. I wish I could take it away from you, but I cannot. That's your battle that you have to go through. Just as I had to go through a breakup with a guy of 8 years. I know it's completely different, but that was my battle. My parents could only watch me and cry and break down. That's all they could do. So have your boundaries, and don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and to make your boundaries heard. That's the first thing. Secondly, just know that there's not actually much you can do by just being a shoulder to cry on, there to listen, and just try speaking positively to them, and like let them, like, when my parents, one of them, like, becomes a bit like negative, like, I'm just throwing the positivity, and when we get on those train, the negative Nancy train, I'm like, no, you know, we're going this way. I'm not gonna, like, the mind is a powerful thing, and that's the one thing I think I'm gonna get into the part, like, what I've learned from this whole experience. Like, I really hope that this actually helps people. Like, if you have any questions, like, of course, ask it down below. I would love to reply, and maybe it will be specific things. But the one thing I have learned is how powerful the mind is. You can almost do anything, if it's not anything, if you put your mind to it. Your mind is the strongest thing you have. It's mind-blowing. Like, you know, like, keep your mind healthy and positive and you will be okay. I had to work so hard to get my train of thoughts and everything back at being, you know, positive and good and healthy, and, you know, all these just good things. And at the end, it turned out good. It's hard work. It doesn't come like just as quickly, and it depends also, like, the difficulty of what you are going through. You know, for my parents, it would be much harder to just be positive. But for me, it, like, if I did that every day, worked on that, like, it built up, and eventually my mind became healthy and good and more, like, clear, and I could think, and I could, you know, learn all these things. And the second thing that was actually so beautiful for me is, before that, you know, I got hurt in a very, like, bad relationship. I lost 2 grandparents before. You know, that hurt. It doesn't take away from that. But this time around, having divorced parents and the suicidal things, I'm not going to touch too much on that, but it was bad. It was horrific. It was horrible, that no one should go through. And going through all of that, it made me appreciate the good times so much. It made me, I'm looking like outside now, it made me just see life through different eyes. Like, I'm a completely different Christelle sitting here today than the Christelle pre my parents' divorce. And I'm so thankful for that. Like, I tell my parents now, like, I'm so thankful for their divorce. It made me more connected with the world. It made me more connected with hurt and pain and people, and you know, having empathy. Like, I had that previously a lot. Like, that's just how my heart is. But it puts you on another level of just, it brings you back to earth, and it just, I don't know, it just shows you that life is not perfect. People go through real struggles. Life can be horrific sometimes. It can, you know, bring you to your knees. It can make you cry day by day. It can make you feel hopeless. It can make you feel so bad. But you know what? You always get through it. At the end, you always get through it. It has taken me just about 2 years to finally just feel free from it and to be able to stand up for myself. But you get through it. Every struggle that I have been through in my life, I've gotten through, and so can you. I truly believe that if you want to, and you have that want and that love for yourself and that positive mindset and the work you put in, you can get through anything. It just takes time, and you need to be patient, and you need to make small gains, like take it day by day, take it month by month, and then before you see it, it's a year. You have a good foundation and you build on that, and before you're seeing it, you're healthy after 2, 3, 4 years. But yeah, that. And then another one that I want to say, like, in the past, if you've ever thought, like, oh, that friend has some issues, or, you know, she's a good friend but she has these issues, those are the keepers. Those are the keepers. Like, you connect with them so quickly. Like, you're already friends with them, but you connect with them so quickly. If you hear their story, like, a person with a story and hardship and struggle, I don't know, they're very close to my heart, because I know what it feels like, and I can just obviously relate more. Obviously, the other friends, I'm not disregarding anything, because I mean, they were there for me as well, just as much as the other ones. But have a good friendship, or have a good friend support. Like I'm so thankful for that. I have so many friends that I could share it with, that I couldn't bore with my stories, and they were always there for me. And obviously when my sisters got to find out, we were each other's support systems, and we are still. But yes, I don't know if there's something else I want to say anymore. Like, I'm just so happy where I'm currently at. It was really tough, and yeah, you get through everything. And now I just don't care about any little shit anymore. Like, you know, life is short. You better enjoy it while you can. Love the people you love. You know, tell them you love them. Stand up for yourself. Be strong in who you are. Be independent in who you are. Don't shy away. And you know, it's okay if you lose yourself for a while helping someone else, but make sure you don't lose yourself completely. But yeah, I think that is basically it. If you have any question, no questions is off limit, except for I'm not going to speak about the divorce itself. Like, that's not my story. If you have anything about like my personal story, like how I went through it, you know, all of that, you can ask me anything about that. And then yeah, it is Saturday afternoon now, cloudy outside. It's obviously winter in Amsterdam. I'm going to go and do food shopping now, and then next week's video will probably be something about just my normal usual life. I'm getting like the last furniture this week, so I will probably show you guys that. Got my washing machine today, and it's just a good day. I feel good, I feel happy. I've also started like you can always put more into yourself. Like, I've put more into myself the past like few months, and now I'm just pouring more and more and more, and it's just so nice to feel good. And yeah, it's nice to be on the other side of something difficult. So yes, I really hope you could yeah, take something from this video. Yeah, it makes me sad knowing that people is going through similar things, something worse, but just know you can get through it. And so yeah, I will see you there next week with a new video. Bye bye.